All right, so good morning or good afternoon, guys. This is Mr. Goyaso. Today, if y'all can see, we are talking about distribution and the box method, okay? And what that basically means is we're going to be multiplying polynomials. If you remember what we learned on Friday or yesterday, we went over adding and subtracting polynomials, okay? So, just like everything that we do, there is a few steps, okay? First step is we're going to distribute. Second step, combine like terms. Third, arrange in standard form. So some problems will need all three steps, but some problems I only may need to do one or two steps, okay? So it just kind of depends on the problem. So let's look at number one. So number one, I have 2x, so a monomial, times 8x squared, okay? Times another monomial. So when we said the box method, we literally meant a box, okay? So this is how we're gonna use the box to multiply, okay? So if I see here, I have my first term, a monomial, 2x, okay? So I'm gonna write that over here on the side of the box, okay? Then my next term, 8x squared, I'm gonna write that over here on top of the box, okay? Then in the intersection where they cross, I'm gonna multiply those two terms, okay? So if you remember how we multiply terms like this, we multiply the coefficients, right? 8 times 2, just like normal. That gives me 16, okay? And then with the exponents, we add them, okay? So I have x, remember, if there's no exponent, there's an imaginary 1. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. So I get x to the third power, okay? So when I multiply these two, 8x squared times 2x, I get 16x to the third power. That is my answer, okay? That's it. We're done. Okay, that's a pretty easy one. Number two. So number two, I have 5n to the third times 7n. Okay, so here I don't have a box. So obviously we're not always going to give you boxes when you do problems like this. You might have to start to draw them yourself. So here I just need a simple box like that'll do. Okay, so I have 5n to the third, so I'll write that on one side. Okay, and then I have 7n. So I write that on the top of my box. So 5n to the third times 7n. Okay, so just like the first one, we multiply the coefficients, 7 times 5, 35, and we add the exponents. N to the third times n to the first. I add the exponents, 3 plus 1, n to the fourth. And I write my final answer, 35n to the fourth. Easy, just like that. Okay, so that's pretty it so far. Number three, okay, so number three, I have negative 2b times 3b minus 10, okay? So a little bit bigger, right? And y'all can see we have a little bit bigger box, okay? So how we multiply this is called distributing, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that negative 2b and multiply it by 3b and negative 10, okay? And to do that, I'm still gonna use the box, okay? So if I just notice this box, right, it's bigger, it's different. And let me tell you why. So here on the left side, I only have one side, right? But now on the top, I have two spots, okay? So watch how I'm gonna do this. So see how I have this negative 2b, right? That's 1, so I'm gonna write that over here on the left side, so negative 2b, okay? I didn't have a lot of space there because I cut it off pretty small. Let me see if I can make it big. No, it's fine. So negative 2b. Okay? Let me see if I can actually make it a little bit bigger. There we go. We have some space. There we go. Okay. So let's scratch that out. So let's put negative 2b a little bit bigger. And we'll use capital B's because if y'all are in my class, y'all know that my b's look like 6's. So I put negative 2b on one side. Okay? Then on the top of my box, I'm going to put each of these two terms, because notice there's two terms inside here, inside the parentheses. So I have 3b, put it with the capital B, okay, and negative 10, not just 10, negative 10. So that goes on the top of its own box, on the top of its own square, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is multiply the negative 2b with each of those terms, okay? See how we're multiplying, like they kind of, where they converge, where they meet? So in my first box, which do just like we did this normal boxes up here, these single boxes. So negative 2 times 3. I multiply the coefficients, I get negative 6, okay? Then we go to our variables. So I have one b, b to the first, and another b to the first. I add those up, I get negative 6 b to the second, okay? So that's that first box. Now my second box, I do the same thing. So negative 2 times negative 10, okay? Well, that gives me a positive 20, right? And then I go to my b's. But if I look, I only have one, right? I only have b to the first. I don't have anything over here. So I'm just gonna rewrite b, right? 1b, okay? Then, now that I have two, we're gonna put it together in standard form, okay? So, standard form is from biggest exponent to smallest. So here, I write negative 6b squared. And now this is a positive 20b, so I'm gonna write plus 20b. Just like that, okay? And that's my answer. Negative 6b times, or plus 20b, right? That's what I get when I multiply these, okay? Not that bad. Okay, so let's go to number 4. Okay, so on number 4, and I can kind of close this back. So on number 4, I have y times 2 minus 3y plus 6, okay? So looking at this one, right? It looks a little bit bigger, but it's kind of deceiving because if we look inside the parentheses, right? I can actually combine like terms before I even get started, okay? Because if I look, I have a constant of 2 and a plus 6, right? Those are both constants inside of the parentheses. So I can combine those, okay? So watch, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna write y, that's gonna stay the same in the front, negative 3y in parentheses, okay? But now I'm gonna combine 2 plus 6, right? Well, that's easy math. 2 plus 6 plus 8, okay? So I've already combined like terms. Now what I need to do is like what we did in number 3. I'm gonna take the y and distribute it, okay? And again, how we distribute, I use the box. So I put my y in front, right? That's one term. And then in my parentheses, I have 2 terms, right? It's a binomial. So since it's binomial, there's 2 sides. I put negative 3y on this box and a positive 8 on this box. If you need to put the plus, go ahead and put the plus. But y'all should know by now, if there's no sign, we just assume it's positive, okay? Now we multiply, just like number 3, okay? So y times negative 3y, okay? So remember, first thing is we go to the coefficients. So here, there's an imaginary 1. Negative 3 times 1, negative 3, okay? Then I go to my y's. So I have 1y here, put an exponent of 1, 1y here. So add them up, 1 plus 1, y to the second power, y squared, okay? Then I go to my next box. So 1y times 8, okay? So again, we go to the coefficients. 1 times 8, the big numbers, I get 8, okay? And then again, I only have 1y, so I just bring it in the back, just like that, okay? Then we write in standard form, biggest exponent first. So I only have 2 choices. So I write negative 3y squared plus 8y. And there's my answer, okay? So that's what I get when I multiply all this stuff up here. All right. So next, let's go to number 5. Okay, so they're going to start to get a little bit bigger. Okay. So with number 5, I have negative 6 times 4a plus 3 minus 2a squared. Okay. So we are going to do this just like normal, just like we've been doing. Okay. Because if I notice, I'm multiplying a monomial, right? 1 term in the front times a polynomial, right? I have 3 terms in this second expression, okay? So I'm going to distribute the negative 6 with each term inside the parentheses, okay? And again, to do that, we use the box. And if I look at this box, I have 1 side on the left, 3 sides, or 3 boxes on the top, okay? And if you look, I have 1 term here, 3 terms in parentheses, okay? So watch how I'm going to set it up. So I write the negative 6 here, okay? And then I'm going to write my 3 terms, each one having its own space on the top. So 4a here, positive 3 here, negative 2a squared here, okay? And then we multiply just like we've been doing. Negative 6 times 4a, right? I start with the coefficients. Negative 6 times 4, negative 24, right? All I have is 1a, so I bring it down. Okay? I go to the next box. Negative 6 times 3. Well, that's just regular numbers. You can use your calculator. And I get negative 18. Okay? And then last one, negative 6 times negative 2a squared. So negative 6 times negative 2, we start with the coefficients, positive 12. Okay? And all I have is an a squared, so I bring that right there. Okay? Now, to finish it off, this is where it's important. I need to write it in standard form, right? So we go from biggest exponent to smallest. So that would be 12a squared. So I'm going to bring that to the front when I'm writing my final answer. Okay? Then comes negative 24a. And last, we have minus 18. So that is my answer in standard form. That's my proper right answer when I multiply all this stuff. All right? Now we get to the tricky stuff. So let's look at number 6. Okay? So number 6, this is different. I'm multiplying a binomial, right, because I have two terms here, times another binomial. 2p squared plus 4 times 5p minus 1. Okay? And if I look, I'm gonna need a bigger box. Because right, look here, right? I only have one side and then 2 on top, right? But what I need is this. I need two boxes on this side, 2 boxes on the top. Do y'all see that? Because I have a binomial and a binomial. So watch how I'm gonna set this up. So 2p squared plus 4, I'm gonna put 2p squared here on the top box, and then the positive 4 on that box on the same side, okay? And then with my next binomial, 5p minus 1, I'm going to put 5p on top of here in its own box, and then minus 1 on top of that box, okay? Then we just multiply, just like we've been doing, okay? So we'll start with this box. So I have 2p squared times 5p. Okay, so we go with the coefficients. 5 times 2, that gives me 10. Okay, then we go to the variables, p squared and p. And there's an imaginary 1. Add those up. P to the 3rd power. Okay, and then it doesn't really matter where you go next. I usually try to go like column by column. So here, 4 times 5p to the 1st. 4 times 5 gives me 20. And I only have one variable, so we bring it down. Okay. Then I go up here to my right corner. 2p squared times negative 1. Start with the coefficients. 2 times negative 1, negative 2. All I have is a p squared as a variable, so I bring down p squared. Okay? And then lastly, the easiest one. 4 times negative 1, negative 4. Okay? And that's it. We just went box by box. But again, here's the key thing. I got to put it in standard form. Okay? So from biggest exponent to smallest. So when I do that, I get 10p to the 3rd power minus 2p squared plus 20p and then minus 4. And there is our answer. Okay, getting bigger and bigger. Okay, now we have 2 more. Okay, so number 7, even bigger. I'm gonna need some more room, number 7. There we go. All right. So for number 7, I have a binomial times a polynomial. Okay? Really big. So if I look at my first polynomial, I have 2 terms, right? I have x and minus 2. In my second one, I have x squared plus x minus 1. And if you look, that's why my box is set up this way. I have 2 sides on the left for these 2, and 3 sides on the top for these 3. Okay, so let's set it up. So on the left side, I'm going to write my x and my minus 2. Remember, do not put a positive 2. Make sure you put those right, okay? And then on my top, I'm going to put x squared, x, and minus 1, okay? And then we do the same thing that we've been doing. We multiply. So in my first top left box, x times x squared, remember there's a 1 here, we add the exponents, x to the 3rd, right? Because there's no coefficients. okay? Going down, negative 2 times x squared. Y'all are gonna see, these are the easiest ones. So negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared, right? We just put it together, right? On the top middle, so I have x times x, add up the exponents, 1 plus 1, x squared, okay? Going down again, negative 2 times x, easy, negative 2x, okay? Back up top, x times negative 1. So this one's a little tricky. So this one, instead of putting negative 1x, I'm just gonna put negative x, right? Because we know there's an imaginary one, but I'm not gonna write it. And then lastly, negative 2 times negative 1. Two negatives make a positive 2, okay? So let's write this out in standard form, okay? I'm gonna do things a little differently. So I have x to the third, okay? Minus 2x squared plus x squared minus 2x minus x plus 2, okay? Now that looks extremely long, but it shouldn't look that long, okay? And there's a reason. Because what we can do is we can combine like terms, okay? So remember, like terms means same variable, same exponent. So here, for the first time, I do have some stuff I can combine. So here I can combine negative 2x squared and x squared, and negative 2x and minus x, okay? So when we do that, I get x to the third, right? That's gonna stay the same. And then here, negative 2x squared plus x squared, okay? So that's negative 2 plus 1, right? That gives me negative 1. So minus x squared, okay? And then here, negative 2x minus x, that's negative 2 minus 1. So that's negative 3x, okay? And then I just bring down the plus 2. Now, I know that's a little tricky. I did that kind of fast, but we're gonna practice combining like terms because that's a pretty tough part, okay? So if you don't understand the combining yet, that's okay. We'll practice that more. But I'm really trying to focus on is get down the multiplying, okay? Because this will come later. But if you can get down the multiplying for today, that's gonna be great, okay? But this is my answer after we combine like terms and do all the steps, okay? Now, we have one more to do. I know this is long, bear with me. Last one, okay? Again, it is a binomial times a polynomial, right? The 2 terms, and then I have 3 terms here, okay? Last one, I promise. So we're gonna set this up just like we've been doing. So I have 2 and then minus a, okay? And then on the top row, I'm gonna have 3a squared, 3a, and minus 5. Eventually you get pretty quick at this, okay? So I'm gonna do this one a little bit quicker. So 2 times 3a squared, multiply the coefficients first, I get 6. I only have one variable, a squared, bring it down, okay? Right here, 3a squared times negative a, okay? So this one's a little bit tricky because it's like there's a minus 1 in front, okay? So negative 1 times 3, negative 3. There's 1a and 2 a's, a to the third. We add them up, okay? Even though there's that minus, we're still gonna add the exponents. The minus is to the coefficient, okay? Don't get confused on that. 2 times negative 3a, multiply the coefficients. 6, bring down the variable. Going down, negative 1a times 3a, negative 3, add up the variables, a to the second, okay? And then last column, 5 times negative 2. Wait, no, 2 times negative 5, my bad, negative 10. And then finally, negative 1a times negative 5, positive 5a, okay? And then again, we want to write in standard form. So let's write, so I have negative 3a to the third plus 6a squared minus 3a squared plus 6a plus 5a minus 10. And again, super long answer, but that's because there's stuff we can combine. So I can combine the 6a squared and the minus 3a squareds and the plus 6a and the plus 5a, okay? So we do that. I get negative 3a to the third, 6a minus 3a squared, that's 6 minus 3, that's plus 3a squared, okay? And then 6a plus 5a plus 11a. And then minus 10 stays at the back, okay? So that's my answer. Again, I know that combining like terms is kind of tricky. We will practice that more later. But if you can get the multiplying down, that is the key thing for today, okay? So that is the last one, I promise. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask your teacher, but that's all I got today. So y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all later.